What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video. This time for UFC 298, Volkanovski versus Topuria, and I'm coming at you in color, on camera for the first time ever. This is very candid. I can literally reach out. And I can touch you. Yeah. I just thought the webcam might be a little bit more engaging than the ESPN slideshow that I normally do. And I can also capture my desktop in real time while I break this down. So I figured that might be a little bit more engaging. I don't know. But let's jump right into it. Kicking off this pay-per-view with an absolute thrill ride. Andrea Lee versus Miranda Maverick. I know the kids at home are excited about this one. Everybody has been clamoring to see another 35-year-old woman open up a pay-per-view main card. I'm going to be going with Miranda Maverick. I think she just has a clear grappling edge against Andrea Lee. Andrea Lee has not looked super great in her last 3 fights. Granted, her last fight was against Natalia Silva, who's a beast, but it's just, she kind of just checks out in fights, and I could easily see Miranda Maverick being able to take her down and control her, and Andrea Lee just accepting bottom position, and Miranda Maverick just kind of grinds her out to a pretty boring decision, I think. And 87% of people on Tapology are picking Miranda Maverick for what that's worth. Moving up to welterweight, Val Woodburn versus Oben Elliott. This is an interesting matchup to me because we get to see how good Val Woodburn actually is. He was undefeated coming into the UFC, but then he ran into Bo Nickel, which is an unfortunate fucking UFC debut matchup. But you dig into Val Woodburn's record a little bit, and some of these wins, you see a guy 30-16, 17-8. Like, these guys have some experience. These are old men. These are fucking old men. And Oben Elliott, on the other hand, is coming off a very impressive win over a guy on Dana White's Contender Series, a guy whose name, if I remember correctly, I will not be saying on camera for reasons unknown. But yeah, Mr. Brito is a very dangerous fighter. Majority finishes. I did not think Oben Elliott was going to beat Mr. Brito as easily as he did. I lost money betting on that fight specifically because I did not think Oben Elliott was that guy. But he impressed me, man. It was a really good, impressive win against a very tough and dangerous guy. So I feel like Oben Elliott's the side here. I just feel like he's more dangerous. His competition that he's fought is better. Technically, I'm not counting Bo Nickel as competition Val Woodburn faced because he got blown up in like 1 minute. I just think Oben Elliott here is going to be able to take Val Woodburn into the deeper waters and probably get a decision win here or a late finish. I just think Oben Elliott's going to be able to survive the initial onslaught that Val Woodburn brings him, just outright. Moving up to another welterweight matchup, Josh Quinlan versus Danny Barlo, another Dana White's Contender Series guy, and another guy I think I'm going to pick. Josh Quinlan is okay at fighting, but he is a little bit standard. I don't know how to really describe it. He just doesn't have a lot of weapons, really. He's got really good power and he's got decent hands, but besides that, there's really nothing. And you kind of saw it in his fight against Trey Waters. It was a much bigger opponent. I believe Trey Waters is like 6'5". And he has a massive reach advantage. And Josh Quinlan just lacked the ability to close the distance and land any kind of effective strike on Trey Waters. And I kind of feel like it's going to be kind of the same tune here against Danny Barlo. Danny Barlo is, in my opinion, a lot more dangerous as far as finishing potential goes than Trey Waters. Uh, he's coming off of a very impressive first round knockout over Raheem Forrest. Raheem Forrest is another guy who is honestly a decent enough prospect, 7-0 going into their fight. And Danny Barlo was easily able to blow him up in like 3 minutes. And, you look at the reach of these two gentlemen. Josh Quinlan's given up 8 inches of reach. I don't see Josh Quinlan making the gains to his game to be able to overcome that gigantic reach deficit. I feel like Danny Barlow is going to be able to pick at Josh Quinlan at range and probably score himself like a second round TKO. Josh Quinlan is tough and he is powerful, so there is always going to be danger there. But let's be real, his best win is over Jason Witt. I don't see it, man. I'm going to go with Danny Barlow by TKO in like rounds 2. Moving up to 205. This is a funny one. Uh Ming Zhang versus Brenson Ribero. Um this is a pick'em as far as I'm concerned, but I am going with Brenson Ribero over Ming Zhang. Um Ming Zhang is a good striker. You go and watch footage of him fight, and he does look very good on the feet. The only problem that I see with him is that his level of competition fought is very, very low. A lot of like fat old men, like 42-year-old men on like a Asian regional circuit, which doesn't exactly blow me away. He has a knockout loss to that one fucking dude whose name I can't remember, who had like the 3 fake records. Not a good look. But when you watch him fight, he is skilled. He is dangerous. But his biggest downfall, in my opinion, is that he really lacks defense. He's very open. He is all offense and no defense. He's there to be hit. Brinson Ribero is kind of the same deal, though, but I think he's just fought better fighters. He, once again, is coming off of a very impressive victory over, what the fuck is this guy's name? Bruno Lopez, who was 11-0 at the time on Dana White's Contender Series. He was like a plus like 500 or something, and he slept this dude into oblivion. Uh, I just think the quality of opponents for Brinson Ribero, granted he does have a couple of TKO losses, I think I trust him more, just barely. And he is the underdog here. He's plus 120, so I kind of like that. He's definitely the bigger guy here. He's got 6 inches in reach. I just think he's fought better competition. And I think this fight's going to be a shootout. I don't suspect this fight even sees the end of round 2. So I'm going to go with Brenson Ribero by TKO round 1, I think. Moving up to bantamweight. Rena Nakamura versus Carlos Vera. Do I really need to break this one down, guys? I'm going to be going with Rena Nakamura. He is a monster. His grappling's insane. His striking is very dangerous. He's got very big power. His defense isn't the greatest. I feel like he is a little bit hittable in striking exchanges, but the danger coming his opponent's way kind of negates the openings that he leaves. I think he's gonna probably just destroy Carlos Vera. He's a decent grappler, decent jiu-jitsu, but besides that, I just think he's gonna have a really tough time. It's just an unfortunate fight to get in your UFC debut. I'm gonna go with Rena Nakamura. I think he's gonna submit Carlos Vera in like round 2. Moving up to heavyweight, Marcos Rogero de Lima versus Justin Tafa. Now this is a fight that I've kind of deliberated back and forth on, but I've come to the conclusion that I cannot bet on a man who lost to fucking Jared Vanderaa. I must fade Justin Tafa once more. I'm going with De Lima here for the simple fact that Justin Tafa is a very dangerous fighter in the first round. His lethality tends to fall off a cliff if you get him into the second and third rounds. De Lima, on the other hand, is a guy who has a wide range of finishes and decisions. He's a very dangerous guy. He's got a much more well-rounded skill set than Justin Tafa. He's got very good leg kicks. The grappling is just like, it's not competitive. I can't say his name. Marcos de Lima is a much better grappler than Justin Tafa. And I think he's going to be able to stay at range and pick apart Justin Tafa on the feet, work the leg kicks, get him out of the first round, and extend him to where he can really implement his game better. And I think he might get a late finish over Justin Tafa in like rounds 3. I just think he's a little bit better everywhere than Justin Tafa. And Justin Tafa just falls off outside of the first round. Moving up to women's straw weight. Amanda Lemos versus Mackenzie Dern. Last time I bet on Mackenzie Dern, she cost me a clean sweep. So we will be fading this one, fellas. I'm over it. I'm going with Amanda Lemos. Solely based on lethality and danger in her stand-up. She is a very dangerous striker. Mackenzie Dern, not so much. Mackenzie Dern, basically, her only path to victory here is getting Amanda Lemos to the ground and submitting her. I don't think she's going to be able to do that. I think Amanda Lemos is going to be way too strong. Yes, I know she was dominated in the grappling by Zhang Weili, but Zhang Weili, I would reckon, is much stronger than Mackenzie Dern, and I'd also reckon that she's got much better takedowns than Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern's a jiu-jitsu practitioner, not exactly a wrestler. She doesn't really have the takedowns of Zhang Weili, you know what I'm saying? I don't think she's going to be able to get Amanda Lemos to the ground, and I think she's at a severe fucking striking deficit in this fight. I think Amanda Lemos is going to TKO Mackenzie Dern early round 2. Write that down. Moving up to the main card. Oh, brother. Talk about a fight that I don't know how it's going to go. Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Kopylov. I'm not sure about this one, fellas. I've seen a lot of debate on this fight, and I think that's what makes this such a great matchup. For the longest time, I was leaning Roman Kopylov, but as fight week has drawn closer, I've opened my eyes. And I'm taking Anthony Hernandez, man, over Roman Kopylov. Like both of these guys have ways to win this fight, so it's a little bit hard to pick one guy, but I'm going with Anthony Hernandez just because I know Roman Kopylov has made a lot of improvements in his game as far as, takedown defense and grappling. But he was controlled easily by Albert Duraev not that long ago. And I don't think Albert Duraev is anywhere close to the grappler that Anthony Hernandez is. And Anthony Hernandez has been on an absolute bender of a run. Edmund Shabazian, Marc-Andre Barriol, Josh Fremd, meh. And Rodolfo Vieira, submission, by the way. Which, after last week's card, that win has aged very well. Roman Kopylov, on the other hand, I just don't think he's been beating guys that are as impressive. Like Josh Fremd, not great. Claudio Ribera, unsure of how good that guy really is. Punahele Soriano lost to Dustin Stoltzfus, so you suck. And Alessio Di Chirico, isn't he getting like fucking DUIs or arrested for like punching somebody drunk somewhere? That dude's not even in the UFC. Who cares? But yeah, I feel like Anthony Hernandez is going to be able to extend Roman Kopylov into the later rounds. And I think he's going to melt him with his grappling. Even if Roman could defend the first couple in the first round, I think Anthony Hernandez is capable enough on the feet to at least ward off some of the early danger that Roman Kopylov possesses. But when you look into his wins, Roman Kopylov I'm talking about, these two fights, Josh Fremd and Claudio Ribero in particular, these guys kind of went longer than they should have, I feel like, against this guy. Like, he's not super dangerous early, and I feel like that benefits Anthony Hernandez here because Anthony Hernandez has infinite cardio. Roman Kopylov does not. I just think Anthony Hernandez in this fight is going to whittle him down and melt him in the later rounds. And I think Anthony Hernandez is going to get a submission win over Roman Kopylov here. I hate to say it, but I think Buff Chase Hooper is going down this time, fellas. I yapped about that one for a long ass time, and I feel like I said nothing. Moving up to bantamweight. God, this card is sick as fuck, guys. Merab Dvalishvili versus Henry Cejudo. I'm going with Merab. I've faded Merab a few times, regrettably. I'm a Merab, I don't want to say hater. I'm not a Merab enjoyer, though. But hey, game recognizes game. He's fucking good. He beat Peter Yan 50-45. And Henry Cejudo's 37, man. I don't like this matchup for Henry because Henry's a very patient guy, and he's very calculated and meticulous when he fights. And I think that's going to hurt him here in a 3-rounder, because if you're too patient, if you get caught looking, Merab's just going to spam shoot takedowns. And you're going to have a really hard getting offense in when this guy shoots 66 takedowns in the first 2 fucking rounds. So I'm going to go with Merab by decision. I feel like I just don't see a very easy way for Henry Cejudo to win this fight. Merab's stand-up isn't bad. He can definitely contend with Henry in the stand-up, in my opinion. And, I mean, it doesn't even matter if Merab gets the takedowns. If he's stopping Henry Cejudo from mounting any offense, he will win the fight by decision. You saw it in the Peter Yan fight. If you just put offense out there, it's easier to score than if you put no offense out there. And I think Merab's just going to get a decision here over Henry Cejudo. Oh, man. Moving up to welterweight. Jeff Neal versus Ian Gary. Man. I hate to say it. I really do. But I'm going with Ian Gary. It hurts me to my very core. There's not a pick on this card that I want to be wrong as much as this one. I would love Jeff Neal to send this man into orbit, but I just don't think he's going to. Jeff Neal is very fucking good, but I just have this sinking feeling that fucking Johnny Cuckold is going to get the better of Jeff Neal early on in this fight. I think he's going to be able to work his leg kicks on Jeff Neal, similar to the way he worked him against Neil Magny. Not quite as well, because Jeff Neal, knows how to fucking check a kick. But I think Ian Gary's head kick is going to be there. I think his body kick is going to be there to condition the head kick on Jeff Neal. And I just think he's going to skirt out a decision here over Jeff Neal. I really do. I just can't shake this feeling. Like, there's nothing I want to say more than I'm taking Jeff Neal by TKO and he's going to starch Ian Gary in a boxing exchange. I'm not getting that vibe, man. Ian Gary's been training at Shoot to Box with Charles Oliveira. He's been working his grappling a little bit. I don't think he's going to shoot on Jeff Neal at all, but I just think he's a little bit more technical all around, and I think he's going to be able to work his kicks. I think his kicks are going to be the story of this fight. I think he's going to have to use them to keep the distance on Jeff Neal, simply because a boxing exchange with Jeff Neal is trouble for Ian Gary, because Ian Gary can be hit on the chin, and if he's getting hit by Jeff Neal, he's going to sleep. So I think he's going to just need to use his kicks to keep Jeff Neal at range for as long as possible until it gets later on in the fight and he's worn on Jeff Neal a little bit, and then he could probably start to open up a little bit more with his hands. But yeah, I'm going to go with Ian Gary. I think he's going to get a decision over Jeff Neal, sadly. Moving up to the co-main event at middleweight, Robert Whitaker versus Paulo Costa. This is a sick fight. I can't believe Paulo Costa is actually fighting. God bless America. Hell yeah. We're finally getting a Paulo Costa fight. How long has it been? It's been 1 year and 5 months. That's insane, dude. This guy is so inactive. But yeah, I'm going with Robert Whitaker. Robert Chiniker. I know he lost to Dricus du Plessis in kind of embarrassing fashion, but Paulo Costa looked absolutely miserable against the carcass of Luke Rockhold in their fight. I get it was at elevation, but like, dude, not knocking out Luke Rockhold, kind of cringe in 2022. Um, man, he really hasn't fought. His third most recent fight is the Adesanya fight in fucking like 2019. That's crazy. And yeah, and he lost a decision to Marvin Vettori. I don't know. Paulo Costa's really good. He's got really nasty striking. He works his body shots really well. He's got powerful kicks, powerful head kicks. But I think the main decider here is going to be Robert Whitaker's speed. I think the speed and the blitz will actually be able to work on Paulo Costa because Paulo Costa is not the best at tracking people when they circle around the cage. Not as good as Dricus du Plessis is, actually. I think Dricus is much better at cutting people off than Paulo Costa is. I think Robert Whitaker is going to use his movement and his speed to stun Paulo Costa often and dance around the cage. I think we're getting a vintage Whitaker decision win here over Paulo Costa. Because I just can't trust Paulo because I haven't seen enough of him recently, dude. I mean, he looked like shit almost 2 years ago against like I said, the corpse of Luke Rockhold, and then he drops the decision to Marvin Vettori, and Marvin Vettori's not very good, so I just can't trust the big fella. So I gotta go with Robert Whitaker by decision here in this fight. And then jumping up to the main event, Alexander Volkanovski, Elliott Topuria. Pick your poison. I mean, I'm going with Alexander Volkanovski. Suck my balls. Suck my balls. I'm riding with Volk once again. I think he's got a good style to beat Elliott Topuria. My only concern is how he's going to look after getting TKO'd by Islam Makhachev. If that second Islam Makhachev fight did not happen, I would be 1,000 times more confident in Volkanovski taking this fight. I'm just not sure how he's going to show up mentally. But I'm going to trust in the man. He has given me absolutely no reason to not believe that he is going to beat Elliott Topuria at featherweight. I think he's too well-rounded. I think he's faster than Elliott Topuria, to be honest. Elliott Topuria is very fast, but he is there to be hit. You saw in the Josh Emmett fight a little bit. He ate some clean shots from Josh Emmett, to be fair, which is very impressive, and he did school him. But beating a 38-year-old Josh Emmett in a decision is not the same as, you know, sweeping Max Holloway 3 times and annihilating Yair Rodriguez, in my opinion. But Elliott Topuria does have a good chance of winning this fight. He's got vicious power in his hands. He's a very good grappler. Not a lot of people talk about that. I think he's got a very good grappling skill set. So I feel like Volkanovski might have a hard time if he tries to implement his grappling against Elliott Topuria. But it is a good look to give him to maybe open up the hands and the calf kicks. I think the calf kicks are going to be the story of this fight against Elliott Topuria. Alexander Volkanovski throws them in there very well. There's not a lot of telegraph. And looking at Elliott Topuria's recent fights, there's not a lot of guys who throw calf kicks, let alone very well. Josh Emmett doesn't throw fucking leg kicks at all. Bryce Mitchell doesn't throw fucking leg kicks at all. Jai Herbert is Jai Herbert. Ryan Hall, yeah, Ryan Hall's throwing leg kicks. And Damon Jackson, he sucks. Like, I feel like that is going to be the deciding factor in this fight. I feel like this fight's going to be decided off of leg kicks, kind of like Max Holloway Volkanovski won, where Volk took the belt. The leg kicks were the story of the fight, and I think it's going to be the same thing here. And I think Volkanovski is going to whittle down Elliott Topuria, and I think he's going to get himself a TKO finish in round 4. That's what I think. But nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like this new format that I'm trying. It's still in the works, but you know. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, I will catch you guys next time. See ya.